Well, one of my ADP buys is Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks currently is coming off the board as wide receiver 48. And I think the biggest concern for people right now is who's throwing him the football. I think that's the main reason that he's down so low, because outside of 2019, where he was dealing with a lot of those concussions and all of that, he has finished no worse than wide receiver 16 in PPR leagues every single season since his sophomore year. So that's 5 out of the past 6 seasons. He has been wide receiver 16 or better, which is just incredible efficiency. He's one of the most underrated playmakers in the league. The other thing is there's nobody else there really to throw the ball. We like Nico Collins as an upside guy.
They cut Kiki Kuti today.
Yeah, there's nobody else there to catch the football. So I know that there's also this narrative, and I don't fully understand it, of, well, it's a bad team, so, maybe they won't get to throw it to him much, blah, blah, blah. The past 2 seasons, the 2 worst teams in 2020, it was the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2019, it was the Cincinnati Bengals. They both had the first overall pick. They both finished 6th in the NFL in pass attempts in their respective seasons, where they were the worst team in the NFL. I fully expect this to be the worst team in the NFL this season. By
a large margin. They have a very high chance to go 0-17.
I would be shocked if they were not worst.
First team never go 0-17.
That's true. Worse than the Browns.
Save the Browns.
So I think as wide receiver 48, even if, let's say, it's the first year when he's fully healthy that he doesn't end up as wide receiver 16 or better, he could easily still come in 20 spots lower than he's finished every single season and end up as wide receiver 36, a wide receiver 3 for you. And that's still way higher than his ADP currently at wide receiver 48. He's not that old either. He's only 27 years old, about to turn 28 years old. So there's still some gas left in the tank. And on any given week with a guy with this kind of speed in your flex spot, he could go off for 2 touchdowns.
Flex spot, I'd put him in my wide receiver spot all day. I think Brandon Cooks screams value. I think it's been on Twitter. He screams value. He absolutely does. Like you mentioned, year in, year out, besides the 1 year he was hurt, he's a top 16 fantasy receiver. I don't want to hear any of this nonsense about he's on a bad team, because guess what? Bad teams suck. Bad teams are always trailing. Bad teams are always trying to catch up. Bad teams are always trying to throw the football. They have no running back situation. The starting running back's probably going to be Phillip Lindsay. Then you've got David Johnson and Mark Ingram, 2 dinosaurs behind them that might as well be extinct, where I don't know where the hell they're going.
I can't understand this team and how they
Wait, don't worry. Rex Burkhead is there.
Oh, yeah. He is literally named after a dinosaur.
I don't know that he made the team or not. I honestly don't know.
So
he's named after
it's absolutely ridiculous out there. I love Nico Collins. He screams values too. I couldn't even tell you number 3 receiver. Could be my uncle. Could be my granddad. I don't even know. It's possible. Anything is possible. Kevin Garnett taught me that as well. So
I would have to check the depth chart. I have no idea who they've got.
I saw it today, and I saw the receiver's name, and I'm like, oh, I need to remember that guy.
Because they got rid of Isaiah Coulter as well.
I didn't see his name on the list, but
no, I think they got rid of him.
I think he's gone as well.
Yeah. I didn't see his name on the list of guys there. I know they cut Kiki Kuti there. Yeah. They are just set up for failure. But Brandon Cooks is screaming value for your fantasy football.
Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller is there.
Chris Conley.
Yeah.
I see a lot of 2022 thirds straight up being traded for
Cooks.
Yeah,
that's it.
Dude,
that's what I'm doing when you got the show.
Andy Dalton in a 2022 4th in a 1 QB league for Brandon Cooks. Like,
what?
Yeah, I know. What?
Wow.
I would be happy. I would be happy to give up a 2nd round pick for Brandon Cooks.
Yeah,
I think it's fair value. I would give up a 2nd, which means that should get it done automatically. Like, hey, here's a late 2nd, anywhere from pick 18, probably 24, because my team's so damn sweet. For Brandon Cooks.
What do you guys do with the news that's out there that any veteran is available? So Brandon Cooks falls into this this category for trade from the Texans.
Oh, I'd be okay with that too. Like if he goes to a team that obviously if he's going to get traded for, it's because they lost a receiver and they need help, and they're going to trade for him and they're going to play him. So
I knew that's exactly how I feel. I just wanted to hear somebody say it out loud as well. Like I just wanted to cover it here because I think even if he leaves, he's still in a great situation. So probably a better team, a better dynamic,
higher efficiency, maybe not the volume, but higher efficiency, better true targets from a better passer. So I think it would even out either way, unless he just went to an absolutely loaded, stacked roster, which wouldn't make sense for a team to trade something for him.
Give us one more guy get out on here that you like that screams ADP buy for the 2021 Dynasty season.
This is a guy that his value has had quite the roller coaster over his career, and that's Miles Sanders. Woo. Miles Sanders started off as like nobody was talking about him much. Guys like Damian Harris were above him in pre-draft process, shot up boards, and then ended up being the second running back off the board in NFL draft. Ascended, looked great at the end of the year, and just people were loving him.
Bonkers ADP.
And then his ADP plummeted this past year. He is currently going off the board as the running back 19 right now.
Forgotten man.
The forgotten man. And this guy last season, for as bad as last season was, he actually had, and this is on a points per game basis, better points per game than Mike Davis, who he was a darling last year. Everybody talked about Mike Davis, Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he was just a few fractions of a point behind Antonio Gibson, DeAndre Swift, and Ezekiel Elliott. So he had a better season than people are giving him credit for. I think it was just he was injured early in the year, so people got frustrated, and he had a couple duds in there that I think were tough. But remember that whole team last year, that entire offense was a dumpster fire. The offensive line, they were missing multiple of their best offensive linemen, and Brooks, and I think Lane missed some time.
Lane Johnson, yep.
And then they had the whole quarterback controversy. This year has been better overall as far as they haven't had all the injuries, they haven't had all of the circus that went on the year before.
There was a lot of instability in the whole organization last year.
Offensive line's a little better this year as well.
So I just think that at running back 19, for a guy that's going into his third season, I don't see a scenario where he's much worse than that. But I think there's several scenarios where he could ascend back into being in the RB1 conversation once again.
Yeah, I think he's more of a running back too. There's a lot of concern I have with Miles Sanders right now with the amount of drops he's occurring in camp, which is odd because I really loved his tape coming out of Penn State. I loved it a lot.
So did I, yep.
Extremely talented runner. Having a real bad case of drops in camp, which means they're probably going to give those pass catching downs to Boston Scott over him. So I think that's going to limit his fantasy upside just a little bit, which puts him in that running back 2 category. So for me personally, like I don't mind Miles Sanders. I don't hate it. It's just I think running back 19 is right around where like I would have him too. Personally, it seems about right. It doesn't scream value to me. Let me put it that way.
He was second last year, by the way, in drops amongst running backs.
Oh, he was actually, ooh, and so it's carried over to camp as a huge concern as well.
So he had 8 last year. Surprisingly, the guy that dropped the most was Alvin Kamara, but he probably had the most.
It's opportunity,
yeah,
probably more
opportunities.
Yep. I mean, he literally over the last 3 years, I mean, Kamara's like leads the league. The last 2 years, he leads the league in receptions. It's Kamara. It is
Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott was a third, and Dalvin. Oh, it wasn't Dalvin. I can't remember the other guy.
Christian McCaffrey?
No, he was hurt last year, so it doesn't count.
He still hasn't had enough.
It's Austin Eckler, Zeke Elliott, and Alvin Kamara. So that's the only thing, and the fact that you tell me that stat, which I did not know, he was second in the league in drop passes at running back position. Which again, if you take Kamara out because of opportunity, then the fact that they've been screaming about this in the preseason and training camp, these were dropping passes, which they're probably just going to take that role away from him altogether and give it to Boston Scott. Which is my only concern about Miles.
But that's what Boston Scott did last year too. I mean, he was taking a lot of the receiving work last year as well. So I don't think it's going to change much as far as his points per game goes.
Which is fine, but still points per game because sometimes, yeah, I get it, man. It's something like it's on my monitor list. It's just
I hear you.
It's just a caveat to your buy. Like I'm with you. Like I want Miles Sanders. Like he's in my Scott Fishbowl. He's my number 2 running back selected. Mm-hmm. It's just that's kind of my one downer. It's like. In today's PPR leagues, like I need you to be casting some footballs.
You're watching
you're
it. You're monitoring it. You're making mental notes on.
If you're not Derrick Henry, you're not Nick Chubb. It's a huge concern for me.
Who would you rather have? Because they're going right around the same range right now. Would you rather have him or would you rather have David Montgomery?
I would rather have David Montgomery.
Would you rather have him or Josh Jacobs?
I would rather have Josh Jacobs.
Same draft class and everything you're going
there,
huh?
And they're all right around the same point right now.
Yeah, I would go Josh Jacobs because he's been more consistent.
And then the next guy is Kareem Hunt. Would you rather have him or Kareem Hunt?
I'd rather have Miles Sanders.
Okay.
Opportunity.